Hey, everyone, Nicola Light here. Remember us all back into our light. I have got the most profound, wonderful person with me today. And you cannot miss this video. She's a beautiful soul sister. And as soon as we connected, there was this absolute emergence of our similarities, but then at the same time, our differences. Um, she's absolutely wonderful, and I just want her to just sort of come on and have a little conversation with you all. So please stick with us and sort of see what comes through, because what will come through will be transformational, I am sure. So who do we have? We have Farrah. How are you doing, darling?
Hello, beautiful Nicola. Oh, you are just a radiant beam of light when you just show up in anyone's life. So thank you so much for such a incredible and humbling introduction. It's just so lovely to be here with you today. I'm so excited. I love our conversations and where they flow in the energetic alignment.
Mm. Some people may have heard of you, some people may have not. We've got a wonderful soul brother that we know of, which is AJ Roberts, that actually connected us. So we thank AJ for that introduction. But as soon as we got together, I was like, I know you. Crazy.
Definitely done some galactic work before together. Um, and I think so many of our monad soul groups, there's an overlap between a lot of the light workers. And that's that feeling of I'm remembering this person more than I'm actually getting to know them. You know, you have that with certain souls. And that's where it goes even beyond sort of past life connections. There is a monad overgroup that holds memories that we all tap into. It's quite profound.
Yeah, totally. So, I would love to sort of share you with my subscribers here on YouTube, and for them to sort of understand who you are and what your capabilities, gifts, and talents are, so that they then can see within their own self that they own their own gifts and talents, and their modality will start to shift and change, and not one light worker, starseed, are hold the same types of absolute blueprints. There are all these wonderful sort of shifts within us that create different variants of that soul group. So tell me more deeply of how that sort of journey came in, and what are your gifts and talents?
Such a great question. And I think we have a very similar idea of how we see this and our knowledge around this. We might just put it into slightly different words. So I mean, in terms of everybody has their own unique gifts, 100%. I think the thing that I often say, if anyone's listened to me, is, there's a giant puzzle and everyone is a piece of that puzzle. So nobody is more important or special than the other. So often we can look at people like yourself or myself or someone else who's, really out there and doing this as a job and think, well, they're so far ahead of me in terms of their gifts. It just means that this was the path we were supposed to walk, but not everybody is supposed to be in healing or doing that as a job. We need people in law, we need people in public service, we need people all over doing their work. So for me, I really started my spiritual awakening. I think, as if you look back at the story, like I grew up in a very Christian home. I always had this amazing connection with God. Didn't understand things like hell or how God chose what you were born into. I felt like it was like a random lottery that seemed really didn't make any sense to me, but nonetheless didn't let what I didn't know stop me from pursuing that connection with God. And then I went to a Christian school, so there was a lot of fear around if you meditate, you're opening up your soul to the devil. It was very intense. Um,
Mm.
you got variations of Christianity. And so really when I met what I thought was my twin flame at the time, I had this real expansive awakening around um, understanding energy. So feeling it because that person lived overseas, so thousands of miles away. And then from there, it just sort of snowballed. And then obviously we had 2020 and my 3D business went away. And so if someone had said to me 10 years ago, you will be doing this as a career, I would have probably giggled. But feeling very blessed to do what I do. And I'm similar to you in the way that I work with numbers, I work with light rays, I work with also light language, differently to you though. I think you channel actual beings, whereas I'm working with coded sound frequency as spirit shows it to me. but I'm the same energetic as you in our work, where I'm really about wanting to help activate and help the person connect for themselves. So I think the days of healers saying, I'll fix you or I'll tell you your future, I think that's still a control thing where we're not embodying the now moment. So we're coming from fear. So I don't do readings. I don't think you do readings either, although you can see timelines as
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can.
yeah.
Yeah.
Timelines and possibilities and potentialities.
Probabilities. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's for me, and I think it's the same for you. It's really about holding the container to help um, through the codes that we have and the blueprints that we have and the gifts that we have for energy to run through to then hold the container for the individual to access that for themselves, to see for themselves, to feel energy move for themselves, for them to learn how to work with their pineal gland. So I'm very big on all of that fun stuff.
yeah. It was wonderful actually because when we first sort of connected, we said let's do an energy exchange, and then we sort of we then understood what each other's was doing, and the frequencies that we were working at was from and there's no sort of hierarchy within it, is that we're working from a very high energetic flow, and that's where our similarities really sort of sit, and it was beautiful that that wonderful sort of mirror that was shown within that light that we hold that we held, sort of enabled us to really sort of really go deep into that soul connection, and really sort of like, oh my God, I know you so deeply because of that resonance of light within us, that happens sometimes when when I'm on a call with somebody, that you have that beautiful resonance of like, I know you. And the deeper that you go into that connection, then you really start to then awaken within you that remembrance of how it all works in the universal system, and where we sit and blend together. It's so profound, isn't it?
It's so beautiful. And I talk a lot about we moving into quantum consciousness, which is beyond the third dimensional realm of the mind's understanding, which is we're moving out of black and white, yes and no. We're moving into multiple truths, whole truth at the same time, while grounding that into the body. That is not an easy thing to do. So when I look at the infinite tapestry of creation, of how a soul chooses to incarnate, and the connections and the karma and the divine timing and the creational codes that they hold within, it makes my head want to pop off my shoulders. It's so quantum. I'm like, and so I often say I love coaching as well. I do a lot of coaching and teaching, and I think the conversation is so important because that's where we have that aha awareness around self, can step into working differently in the now moment, choosing differently in the now moment. And I often I say to people, the quantum components are so big that we have to get out of the mental into the somatic, into the body. Like, when someone starts a spiritual awakening, they want to know all the names of this and all the star planets, and it is all very exciting. And I'm like, but we're beyond that. Feel it, embody it, know it on a deep level.
Yeah.
Um, so I totally get it.
Yeah, it's that remembrance, and it's not like learning, it's just remembering. It's the whole thing is remembrance. And I remember years ago my high self said to me, I got this deep knowing of, no, it's remembrance into the light. And then that became my little catchphrase, of no, it's remembrance. It's like, I want to learn about this, and no, you don't need to learn anything because you know it already. You just got to remember, you know?
I love that so much because Spirit also said to me, my higher self, I refer to as Spirit. And I know you and I are also very big on connecting with the higher self. I teach courses around the subject. And my higher self said to me, don't go and look at anyone else's material
Mm.
because that can also, it's not for everyone. I mean, it is important if you feel called to, it resonates. But for a time, it was like, keep your channel pure because I was in that experience of learning how to download and channel information, and yes, listening to other people's material can be a catalyst. So it's great that people put out information, and if we feel called to listen to it or we resonate with the person. But as you're saying, it is all within you. So sometimes beings come through for me that you can't even Google. It's
Yeah.
like, and it just doesn't bother me. I'm like, okay, because I can feel the energetic frequency. I can feel the matching of here to there, or, so the name or the star system, it's lovely to go into, but it's not actually that necessary because it's about the frequency more than what our mental minds are trying to understand around it.
Yeah, I love you saying that because everything that you said there is that we do need a point of reference. We do need a stepping stone of the evolution, but it gets to the point where you really don't need to seek outside of yourself. And that's what you're talking about there. And for our listeners to listen into that is knowing that it's okay that you're sponging up information, that you're watching this, and this. And it comes to a point where you're like, I really don't need to listen to Nicola and Farrah anymore. It's okay, that it's like you don't read a book over and over and over and over because you soon get bored of it. We need to rise up into the next evolution. It's not about knowing all the angels and what they're there to do, and that again, it's something that's an evolutionary step. It's the movement of humanity and our level of consciousness can open us up into the next level. And this is what I see in you, that beautiful evolution of people here to assist. It's not that people need us, but we're here to assist, and whoever resonates and the synchronicities of their high self to our high self then starts to beautifully link us up so that then you then can start to evolve and shine also. It's
Well, I mean, we're not meant to be an island. So I also have someone that I is like a coach, mentor to me, because I can bounce stuff off because there's infinite perspectives, and
yeah,
I am not fully self-actualized yet. So I'm still holding stuff that I'm working on in my body. I actually don't know anyone who's fully self-actualized. So I am very, very pro having someone to hold hands with, walk to hold that space for you along the way, because we are doing this all together.
yeah,
But like I say to some of my clients, if you bring in a specific shade of blue ray into your body, and I bring in the exact same ray, and think about the color spectrum, it's infinite. Now there's sound running through that, there's geometry running through that, and there's light. How my body reacts to that exact shade of blue ray is going to be different to yours because my blueprint is different. So that ray could be very empowering for me. It could be very healing for me, but it could be so different for you. It is supposed to be different for you because we are unique and blueprinted uniquely. So instead of going, the blue ray is this, or the violet ray is that, it is what it is to you and how it interacts with you and your body. And this is what I keep harping on about. It's becoming, yes, we're doing it together, but it's becoming a personalized, individualized. You have to come into individualization, actualization to come into oneness. It's first in to
yeah.
get there.
Beautiful. I absolutely love that. It is. It's all about you, and then the universe is then seen. You start to see everything. Our awareness starts to rise. Beautiful. Jan ombokiyatan asya makiatont ufram bakiyata ah.
Gives me the chills. It's so beautiful. I love it so much.
And that's the thing with light codes, isn't it? Is that sometimes a light code by somebody would give you chills, and yet somebody else would be like, meh. And it's that resonance again of energy and sound and light that allows us to feel the chills because there is that resonance. Again, it doesn't mean to say, oh, your codes aren't good, or oh,
So
that holds, it's again perception, isn't it?
Well, individualization. So, like when you're channeling codes for a specific personal client, it will be aligned to, and that's what you've been trained to do, same as me. It's aligned to what that person needs in that moment. It's not supposed to resonate with everyone. And there's not just a one way to ascension. There's not one path. There are infinite paths, infinite codes. They're all going to be, and I think if we can, as a spiritual community, get out of this person's right, this person's wrong, this person's information's, that's very divisive, right? Everything is teaching us something, whether it's discernment or it's helping us grow or so we're looking for catalysts of our growth. So we do that together. But it's really, there is there's infinite ways, and this is what I keep coming back to, like limiting beliefs. Baby, limiting beliefs are going to be, they are the very thing that stops us from creating within the hologram.
Yeah.
So the limiting beliefs are the self-doubt when you are meditating that your information is not correct. I mean, obviously you need to know about things like ego and you have to have awareness, and there's some basic principles you work with. But the limiting beliefs, that is what we're doing. We're stripping them away. We're coming into understanding that it's the micro to the macro. It's just you. From one perspective, only you exist on this planet. And from another, 7 billion or 10 million or billion, whatever else do. Both are true, right?
Yeah.
That's hard for people to wrap their mind around. But if you can turn the lens inwards and focus on doing the inner work, and the inner work is not just doing meditation and light language and rays of light and reading high vibrational content. The inner work is I'm in my kitchen, my son is screaming at me, I'm feeling frustrated, and I move through that with more grace and ease than I did 2 weeks ago. You know,
Absolutely.
I'm choosing love over, or I can recognize I'm feeling overwhelmed or my nervous system's feeling overwhelmed, so I'm going to lovingly exit just to take a few breaths. That's the real life stuff, right? I think in the spiritual community as well, we're merging and collapsing the bridge between the 3D physical, which we still have to be in, and the fifth dimensional where we feel we have to be all the time. But I mean, the rubbish still has to get taken out. I still got to change dirty diapers, that's so there's this balance that we have to come into. And the balance for me that's so important is, yeah, there is life stuff that's not always comfortable in your external environment. And
Mm.
so how is the inner work helping us choose from the higher, going higher in the now moment, making those choices moment to moment to moment to moment?
Definitely. That's beautiful. It is so beautiful because, it's like it's the perception of who am I and the identify. Oh no, got a thumbs up there. The identification of actually is that I am this higher being of light, and that holds sort of top heavy in spirituality is that it feels comfortable for us all to be in that vibration. But then when we step near to the sink and the dishwasher and cutting the grass and the doing this and the doing that and going shopping for a loaf of bread, or if you're gluten free loaf of bread, is that you're merging the wonderful and balancing the higher self and that higher frequency with everyday human life in the collective. And there's no I am better than you. There's no, sort of hierarchy within it. We're human, and that's the rise, that's the ascension, that's where we're expanding the mind into accepting all that we are within that beautiful balance within ourselves.
Absolutely. I mean, so Spirit always speaks to me about merging and collapsing, external, internal, and that's a whole long sort of topic. But I also feel that we've got our spiritual body, our emotional body, our mental body, and our physical body,
Mm.
and so we're merging all of those. And partly, yes, we need our mental body, and then there's times where people overuse the mental, and there's part. So, like for me, as Spirit shows me, I've done quite a good job of integrating the spiritual, the emotional, and the mental. I'm still working on the physical body. I haven't merged that yet. I'm a little bit naughty. Sometimes I say, no, I actually want to eat that. I'm a little bit rebellious, which is fine. I'll get there. We've got this whole lifetime to get there. So I love that we are having this conversation because it can get tricky for people. Like in the mind, am I enough? Am I doing enough? It's about embodiment. So I keep coming back to somatic embodiment
Yeah,
with
amazing.
while holding the knowledge. Are we live on YouTube? Did we get a thumbs up because we're live?
I have no idea how I got that, or because normally it doesn't come up unless we're so yeah, no, we're not live. So yeah, that's good. I did actually do this the other day with somebody. It was like this. I don't know whether it'll come up. Oh, there you go.
So cool. Is it doing it for me? No.
I think you put it on your settings. But it was funny actually when I was speaking to somebody and I did the double thumbs up. and then the sparklies came in on my screen. And it was a real sort of analogy and a symbol into the creators that we are, that we can, through the illusion of us sitting on a screen, we're in our own separate rooms in our own space, and yet we watch the television or the screen into seeing an interface, and we can manipulate it by putting two thumbs up and getting a background which changes the illusion.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful sort of analogy that the universe always shows me, is that everything that is shown externally is a significant clue into how to play the game, because it's as above, so below, as within, as without. So if I can actually do that through technology and see it with my sensory perception, I can do and create fireworks in the illusion into creation. And I love the way that spirit, higher self, who however we want to label it to be, works through us into teaching us the lessons so that we can see everything within inside of ourselves. And without going into too much detail, we were speaking before we came on about the weekend and the intensity of the energy that the weekend brought us to, as you're like, oh yes. And so the lessons, Farah, are so important for us to just see what is it that you are trying to show us, isn't it?
For sure. I mean, this just talking about this weekend, I mean, I knew it was a big new moon in Taurus. I've got a Taurus rising ascendant, so I love Taurian energy. It's very indulgent. I like nice stuff. I could, yeah, I can really relate to the Taurian energy, even though I'm a double Aquarian. But then we had this Mars-Pluto conjunction, this T square. So forgive me if I don't get all of the terminology right because I'm not an astrologer. But I know that, Pluto's the underworld and Mars is that fire in action. And it really was affecting or really working with the fixed signs, which is Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio, and Taurus, I think. Might have that wrong. But definitely Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. And girl, I was so excited for this new moon, and it just highlighted for me in my relationship, and through the relationship, like we were speaking about earlier. So through the relationship being the mirror, which is such a beautiful mirror to help us with our growth, to help us on the subconscious level, on the cellular level, what we're still holding. I couldn't believe the anger that popped up in me. I mean, and I am not one of those spiritual people who's like, oh, look, I've got it all together. I'm so perfect. Shit, no. I was surprised the rage that came up in me. There was also like a Black Lilith or something involved. I was chatting to Diane about it, who's a master astrologer. But, I had to go to her and just say, like, I'm so angry with my partner right now. Um, and, and she just said, Faz, come higher. You can do this. Like, come higher, because that's an old version of me that gets very reactive. It gets very confrontational, and you will hear me. I know where my bits and pieces are sitting, and I had to really, really work with it. But the beautiful opportunity around these things, and this is also why it's nice to have someone to check in with, like a mentor or someone to work with, because it's like they're neutral and it's hard for us to see. I always say to people, you cannot channel if you're not neutral. It's 0 point energy, baby. Um, and we managed to come through it and so beautifully, like not doing it the old way from like years ago, because
Yeah.
that kind of energy hasn't come up in a while. But whew, it was deep breaths. And then last night, really working with, okay, these limiting beliefs, like these versions of me that they have to have light shed on them so that they can integrate and transmute. So
Yeah.
I don't know. You were saying it was also a little bit of a weekend for you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the whole weekend. It was really funny actually. I'd done a video, I presented a video from my Patreon group, and was speaking about Surf It Baby.
About what?
Surf It.
Oh, love that.
The undercurrent of energy that is sort of running through from an astrological, planetary, celestial expansionness is like, Yeah, I was vibing really high on Friday. I was like, yeah, just surf it. Don't get sink and swim in it. I might actually have even presented it on my YouTube. And anyway, irrelevant. Anyway, so I was sort of like, there you go. You can do this. You can do it. Be at this higher level of consciousness. Bam! The weekend came in with a big wave of energy that knocked me off my surfboard and down I plummeted into the currents to see me struggle. And I had to laugh at myself um, from that ego spiritual bit. Do you know when we're high surfing and vibing, it's like, I've got it all. And then you go to the depths of it and think, So it was, yeah, the weekend was crazy with the energy.
And I think it was interesting, specifically for those people who have been doing the work. I don't know if it was so tricky for the people that are maybe not, and there's no judgment there, that are maybe not that interested in doing the work because, like I keep saying, this whole year, I feel into next year and the following year, like it. We are being asked to level up, baby. So every cosmological alignment, every stargate, every portal that opens, every new ray that's coming on, or wherever the rays are working in the different, you planets are working, we are being asked to level up. That's why it's called a way shower, right? So we have, some people can complete themes over 10 lifetimes, one theme. We're like, our souls chose to come here and complete. Now you might be completing three themes and then boom, that's ascension, that's ascended master. So it's like, I don't like to say, because I don't like the belief that you have to have hardship or struggle to grow, but we do know that it's a very quick way. Because if you go to another planetary system where you can't see yourself, you can't even see yourself, there's no vision, take away one sense. There's growth, but it's much slower. So on Earth, it's like boom, 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 boom. And I think for the guys for all of us who have chosen this path, just to have a little bit of grace for ourselves, because we could be looking at other people going, well, they're not really doing a lot of work or consciousness and they seem fine. But it's because it's through those experiences that we get to understand stuff that we're holding in our body on a deeper level. This is the deep, deep, deep unconscious stuff. This is not the stuff that we're aware of day to day. This is the cells. What are the cells holding? The DNA holding from past lives, from galactic wars,
Mm.
from relationships to, external to internal to the external. So I don't know. It would be interesting to see who comments below this video about how they found the weekend. But I
Yeah,
had
that
such a
would.
giggle when you said I was like, whoa, dude, this weekend was hectic.
Oh, it was immense, absolutely immense, absolutely immense. So yeah, please, if you're listening, just share with us how you went over these sort of waves, or was you surfing it, baby, or was you sinking and swimming for air? Yeah, crazy times, but so
Yes.
perfect though, so perfect.
So perfect. And as I was saying to you earlier, you said you felt the same. I got into bed last night and I could feel as the new moon came up, and I think it was more the Mars Pluto thing that came up more than the new moon, but I could feel the energy lifting. It's almost like as the Taurus moon came up, the new moon, I was able to work with some creational stuff within myself, some limiting belief release within myself, and both my partner and I woke up this morning and it was from dense heavy energy, and he kept just saying to me, he's like, I just feel so heavy, even though we were like having this tiff with each other. He was just like, but it's actually just this feeling of heaviness. And we both woke up this morning. It was like, whoop, can just like completely lightened. I don't know if you felt that this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. I woke up this morning and as if it was like, okay, switching on onto a Monday and let's get on with it now. And it was like a big upsurge and a push. Big
Yeah.
upsurge and push. It's like a higher self always shows me like this. It's like this. Can you see it? Can you see it yet? And yeah, I really saw it. I really saw it. I did my inner work, I did my shadow, my deep core wounds. I saw past relationships, past experiences as I was in my garden compared to the garden that I had left with my family home, and the identification of the past of me, and it was so beautiful, and it's to see it all as a gift in the time of the moment. Sticky, really sticky.
Yeah.
But just know, know that we are here, we're of service. There are many, many things that we can um, assist you with. Um, and then until you get to that point of empowerment where you're really stepping into your own light, into your own remembrance, we are of service. So, would you like to share with everybody, and we'll put some links below on the description, the work that you are here to assist people with, so that people then could, connect with you if they feel that resonance of soul sisterhood with you?
Absolutely. So I post a little bit more mostly on Instagram. And I'm going to be having a show on Gnostic TV, which I'm pulling you onto for the next one. And I'm going to be interviewing you. So Gnostic TV is quite a nice thing to check out. And then I work one-on-one. I generally work with people over 4 sessions. I feel that, and a lot of people end up actually working with me throughout a year, throughout over 6 months to a year, which I'm sure you have the same, because there's just so much to access. So working with conscious astral travel, but I also do a lot of coaching, and I like soul circles. You can call them workshops, courses. I mean, I'm not really attached to the names, but I love doing group work, which is for me. I'm very much around, like, I'll have a theme that Spirit speaks to me about, but then I kind of channel on the day. And then so I kind of bring through information. And I'm doing one on the 18th with Diane Gold, the intuitive astrologer. She's amazing. And so she will talk about the cosmology while I bring through what's channeled on the day, and it's all about creational codes on the 18th. And so yeah, I've got the 7 day portal into self, which I've created on my website, which is really for people to listen to when they're going to sleep, because to activate the pineal gland, to start working with your inner higher self and inner higher mind. Um, and yeah, working one-on-one and working in groups, that's my jam.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. And we'll put all the links below so that people can connect with you. And listen back to the recording as well today, because sometimes there'll be some energy within it that you'll be able to connect in deeper into this conversation as we align our energies together. I sort of feel the beautiful connection here. So it doesn't necessarily have to come in through code, but through the conscious energy and light that we hold here. So thank you so much, Farrah, for joining me here today, and I'm looking forward to coming on to Gnostic TV as well. So we'll put some links up to that. But is there anything else to add before we leave the call today?
Just so much love, and just love wins. You are the creator of your reality, and just love, and love wins. Like, absolutely, that's my motto. You are the gift you've been waiting for. That is also one of my mottos. And I really appreciate the chat today. It's been so blissful and divine.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you everybody else for joining me also. It's an absolutely amazing journey in itself. And so leave comments, like and subscribe, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye everyone. Bye.